Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Now, today we are going to have a look at the most played tier 10 tanks, and we're going to hopefully talk about why these tanks are the most played in tier 10, and also we're going to see if any are a surprise, if any tanks are a surprise at being the most played. Now, I think some are, maybe one or so, and that one is this tank right here, the E50M. So yes, the E50M is currently the most played medium tank in tier 10. Now, I was surprised at this. Now, the E50M is a very strong tank. It's a very strong medium tank, very good. It's got armor, it's got DPM, it's got speed, it's got the ramming ability, it's a heavy tank. So overall, it's a very good tank. Now, currently, over the last 90 days, there has been 10,708 people playing this tank. That is more than any other medium tank in tier 10. And yeah, I was surprised at that. I was very surprised at that, because I thought there would be maybe the T62A, even the Object 140, but you know, I don't think the Object 140, but definitely things like the T62A, the TVP, and tanks like that. Even now, maybe even the M48 Patton, because that is a very popular tank now. It got buffed, and it's a very good tank now. But the E50M has always been a strong tank, and you guys seem to agree, because you're playing this tank more than any other medium tank. So moving on up the list, we have the next tank, and we're going to go the lights now. The most played light tank in tier 10 is currently the T100 light. Now, this I was actually surprised about, because it hasn't actually been in the game for that long. Now, 13,641 people have played this tank over the last 90 days. Now, that number is quite it's still quite low, because people like light tanks, and usually it's the Vickers and even the Sheridan. The Sheridan is still a very popular tank. There are still a lot of people currently playing the Sheridan still. Sorry, I do have a cold, so sorry if I sneeze or I have the sniffles, and yeah, I hate having colds, especially now the weather's like really hot here, and that's when I decide to get a cold. I don't have a cold all winter, and now it's hot, I have a cold, so GG. So yeah, the T100, it's definitely the strongest light tank. But because of how new the tank is, I didn't expect it to be the most played after such a short time. Why is this the most played? Of course, there's a lot of reasons why this light tank is more popular than any other light tank in tier 10. And there's a few reasons. Obviously, it has the new spotting mechanic, where you shoot a tank, it remains spotted for 20 seconds. But also, it is actually a super good, maybe OP, almost OP tank. And eventually, I do think it will get nerfed. It has the DPM of a normal medium tank, a 3,500 DPM. That's only a 5.2 second reload. That is basically the same DPM, the same reload as a T62 Object, etc, all pretty much all the medium tanks. So yeah, it's ever since it was released, it's been popular, and as you can see, it still is very popular. Will it get nerfed? I do honestly think eventually it will get nerfed. I reckon they'll lower the DPM a bit, not too much. I think they'll give it maybe 3,200 3,300 DPM, but I do think that eventually, maybe not yet, because a lot of people are playing it, and that tends to be like the norm with wargaming. They make a tank OP, they make it super strong, strong. They wait for everybody to grind it, and as soon as people have grinded it, they then nerf it. And that then, it doesn't matter if people don't play it, because everyone's already played the tank, everyone's already grinded the line, everybody's already used their gold or money to free XP the line because of how good the tank is. And then once it's very popular, that's when they normally nerf the tanks. So this tank will continue to grow. It's still fairly new. It's still very new into the game, and it will continue to grow. More and more people will be playing this tank as they are grinding the line. It is a tech tree tank, which is good to see that the most played tier 10s are pretty much all tech tree tanks. They're not premium, which is good. At least the OP premium tanks are not being spammed by everyone. It's a tech tree tank. It should be the most played anyway. So eventually I do think it will get nerfed, but not yet. It's not getting nerfed as of yet. And because of that, people will continue to play this tank, and more people will move over and start to play this tank as well. So we're just going to watch the rest of this battle here. It's been an intense game, to be honest. He's on 6 kills. This guy's on 6 kills and just an E75 left. So as soon as he get unspotted, he is now just going to push this E75. He has the DPM. Even if he gets shot, he has the DPM. He has the mobility, because it's a light tank, to get around the E75. And as you can see, he's now a one-shot, and he takes him out very, very easily. So nice game there, just under 7k damage, but he does end on 7 kills. So GG there. So moving on to the next tank, the heavies, the most played heavy tank in the game. I'm not surprised at this, to be honest. It is the 60 TP. Now 13,000 was the last tank we just looked at. This tank has 23,462 players that have played this tank over the last 90 days. That is a lot. That is a hell of a lot. Now I wouldn't have been surprised if there were other tanks that hit the top here. I wasn't that surprised that this tank was there, because it's a very strong tank. It's a good tank. Of course, it has the new tungsten shells as well. It was a new tech tree. So I'm not that surprised that this is the most played. Again, it is fairly new. The tank is quite new. I was expecting to see something like an E100, IS7, maybe even the IS4 on this list, but that's nothing. Even things like the E5 used to be so popular. Now I think the number is like 3,000 people have played the E5 over the last 90 days. Compare that to 23,000 of the 60 TP. So yeah, it's a popular tank. It's a good tank. Obviously the ammo rack is still very weak on the tank. I think it's gonna continue to be that. I don't think it's gonna be fixed. I don't think it needs to be fixed. To be honest, if it had a super OP ammo rack, and it will be an OP tank. Now I don't think this tank is that OP. It's super strong, borderline OP. The gun is hit and miss. The gun's always been hit and miss. You sometimes miss shots that you should hit, and you sometimes hit shots that you miss, that you should miss. So of course the turret on this thing is super strong, and it's a better E100. It is a better E100. It does have the tungsten shells, and if you're going to use the tungsten shells, always make sure that you've got the targets, and you can hit that target twice whilst that tungsten shells is available. You don't want to just hit the tungsten shells when you haven't really got any shots, because you're going to waste DPM and you're going to do less damage. So you're going to see here, I mean, it's a 3 versus 3. I don't really want to take care of the E100 yet, because there's other tanks, and I really want to take care of the STB. For me, he's a more dangerous target. Of course, I bounce my shot. But our guy there is going to get behind the STB, so I don't really need to look at him anymore. And the E100 gets the free shot there. And now I could just side hug. I could face hug this E100, and it's going to be a very difficult pen for him, unless he shoots HE, but we do manage to clear him easily. So the top of the list, the highest tank played, the most tank played, is the Death Star, with 28,100 and 10 people playing this tank. Now, this has always been the most popular tank in the game. Not just tank destroyers, not just tier 10, but this has always been the most popular tank in the game for one reason, and one reason only, and that is the Hesh. That is the alpha on the Hesh. Now, this here is a very quick battle, and I wanted to add it because even though it has the Hesh, even though it could do a monster amount of damage, most of your battles, if you take out the Death Star, most of your battles, I would say about 70 to 80% of your battles will end the same as my battle ended here in the Death Star. So yes, it has the alpha. It's not OP. It's annoying, but it is fun when you can get that Hesh out. But the reality is, this battle here is going to happen more than once. So yeah, not even a minute I lasted. So hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Let me know if you're surprised at anything in this list. I'm Meadsy. Catch you soon. With